What's happening, my NTG brothers and sisters? Thank you for watching. I am your host, The Dark Tutor. And if you like the content you see, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below with any suggestions that you may have. I would love to hear from you guys. Alright, well, today I will be going over my EDH Grumgully the Generous deck. Let me know what you guys think, and without further ado, here we go. I chose Grumgully the Generous as my commander for the goblins, purely for the fact, not purely for the fact, but I like the fact that other non-human creatures I control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it, and goblins are mostly aggro, so it's nice to have a little boost. And he's only a 3-drop, which is nice. Get him out on the third turn. I mean, you could probably even get him out sooner if you have, a mana crypt or a mana vault, something like that, to that effect. But I definitely wanted the color scheme, the red and the green. I'm not necessarily a mono-colored deck user. I definitely like to have different varieties. But yeah, definitely use him as my commander. He's a really fun one. Let's start out with creatures. Just recently threw this in. Tuck Rubble Fort. Just mainly, reach really helps. It is just a 0/3, but it's more for the haste ability right there. Creatures you control have haste, and that's going to be really big for this deck. Haste, depending on how things work out. Conspicuous Snoop. It's a great card because you get to play with the top of your library revealed. You cast goblins from the top of your library, and as long as the top card of your library is a goblin card, Conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card. So this is definitely going to be a big piece in your combo play, and I'll most likely bring that up a little bit later. Goblin Chieftain, haste other goblin creatures you control, get 1/1 and have haste. So that's another thing. It gives you haste, and it lords all your other goblins, which is really nice because most of the time I don't really get the chance to use Grumgully the Generous as much as I would like to. They like to take him out as soon as he gets to the battlefield, so I would say a lot of protection would be nice in this deck. I don't necessarily have a lot of protection as it is right now. Basically just built this deck off of one of the cards that I'll show you here later, which actually inspired me to make my goblin deck. But let's move on. Got Adaptive Automaton. So as he enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, obviously goblins. He is the chosen type in addition to his other types. So, and then other creatures I control the chosen type get 1/1. So basically just a lot of lords. This is the one, the Pashalik Mons, is the reason why I made this deck. I pulled this in a Modern Masters deck. So I was like, oh, that's a really cool one to try to make a commander out of. Definitely didn't want to go mono red, but whenever he or another goblin I control dies, Pashalik Mons deals 1 damage to any target. So, and then you pay 3 and a red, sacrifice a goblin, create 2 red goblin creature tokens. So that's definitely nice. This is a really, really, really good card. I haven't really looked up at too many deck lists for Grumgully, but Mod Catcher, pay 3, tap to search your library for a goblin card and put that card into play. So that's pretty huge. Brash Taunter. Love this card. Indestructible. Whenever he has dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. Brilliant card. And then you can choose to pay 2 and 1 red to tap, and he fights another target creature. So it's really nice. The white decks are kind of a pain in the ass to go against because they have a whole bunch of exiling abilities, but there's that. And of course, Krenko Mob Boss. He pairs well with Conspicuous Snoop, and I'll put him to the side here so we can go over the let me actually, you guys probably know, but yeah, you tap to create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. So that can get out of hand really, really fast. We'll put them over here with the combo list. Skirk Prospector, sacrifice a goblin, add fire to your mana pool. It's a great card. Goblin Recruiter. Now, this card is pretty insane. When he comes into play, you search your library for any number of goblin cards. You reveal those cards to all players, shuffle your library, and then put those cards on the top of your library in any order. So that's definitely going to go here to the Goblin Recruiter. Or, not Goblin Recruiter, to the combo pile. Wart the Raid Mother. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red green Goblin Warrior creature tokens. Each red or green instant or sorcery spell you cast has Conspire. As you cast the spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with it. When you do, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Now, this is definitely one of the cards I can have considered to take out. It doesn't really see much use because it's a 6-drop, but definitely one of the cards I need to get in here is Muxus the Grand Dundee. I believe that's what his name is. I believe he's only found in the Jumpstart decks or Jumpstart packs. So my goal is to definitely get me a couple boxes of those and open it up for the hell of it, just to try to get him. A couple other cards that are in there in that set that I really like. Goblin War Chief, another lord. No, not a lord. But he, goblin spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and the goblins you control have haste. So once again, haste, it's really big for this deck. Yisan the Wanderer Bard. I do have a couple humans in here, but mainly for the fact that you pay 2 and a green to tap and put a verse counter on him, and then you search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of verse counters on him, and you put it into the battlefield. So basically, a lot of tutors in here to try to get to your combo. He doesn't necessarily go into the Acidic Slime, Death Touch. When he enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. Just kind of a nice little removal. I mean, it's a 5-pay. I think there's some cards in here that I just kind of just threw in the deck just because I had them and I just wanted to complete my deck. So there's definitely a lot of work that I can do to this deck. But yeah, it's a nice little removal. Goblin Ringleader, haste. When he enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library and put all goblin cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest onto the bottom of your library in any order. Not very significant to the combo, but goblin nonetheless. And then of course you get to look for you get to put any goblin cards that you reveal in your hand. So that would definitely help you get a little bit of draw just to try to get to your combo. When Beetleback Chief, when he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. And then goblins aggro, just trying to get as many creatures out as you can, just to try to protect yourself while you're looking for your combo. Siege Gang Commander, when he enters the battlefield, put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Sacrifice pay one red. Sacrifice a goblin. Siege Gang Commander deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So he's pretty nice. I mean, of course, you want as many goblins as you want on the battlefield. So when you get that Cranko combo, you just throw stuff down. It's absolutely insane. I think the most goblins I've ever had out was 60 at a time. Warren Instigator, double strike. When he deals damage to an opponent, you may put a goblin creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So that's pretty nice. 2-drop. Especially if you have a combo piece in your hand that you can get going. That's really great. Do Goblin Matron. When Goblin Matron comes into play, you may search your library for a goblin card. If you do, reveal that card and put it in your hand and shuffle your library. More tutors just to try to get to your combo. Try to get there as fast as you can. Squee the Immortal. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard from exile. This is just a great card. You always have protection. If they get rid of it, you can bring it right back if you need to. This will actually be more significant to the deck as soon as I put Food Chain in here. Whether I hear it's getting reprinted in Commander Legends, I hope that's true. I haven't really seen too much on it. on any videos I have watched, but this is another way that you can get infinite mana just to try to get your combos out. So yeah, Food Chain is pretty expensive of a card. I think it's like $70 right now. Of course, I mean, unless it gets reprinted, then it will go down, but you best believe that I will be getting, you know, as many Commander Legends boxes as I can, because they got some incredible cards in there. It's really going to up the game. Vexing Shusher. This will be great. Again, this is great against blue decks, because the spell itself can't be countered, and target spell can't be countered, so it doesn't matter what it's not, you know, whether it's creature, artifact, enchantment, anything, you know, you just pay one and that spell can't be countered. So this is a great card. Goblin War Party. Wait, sorcery? Get out of there. We'll discuss you later. Goblin Pile Driver. Protection from blue. Whenever your Goblin Pile Driver attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking goblin. So these are great to have out once you get your combo going. Legion Loyalist, another great card. Haste Battalion. Whenever Legion Loyalist attacks and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control gain first strike and trample until end of turn and can't be blocked by creature tokens this turn. Love this card. 1 pay. Super great. Runaway Steamkin. This is a great little mana boost. Whenever you cast a red spell, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 1/1 counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on Runaway Steamkin. Remove 3 1/1 counters from Runaway Steamkin and add 3 fire. 3 red. So, great card for this deck, absolutely. Last but not least, Anger. This is a great card to have in here too. Haste, as long as Anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. So this is definitely a card that will, if you have it on the battlefield, people most likely will not attack because you have this in your graveyard. Unless they can exile your graveyard, this dude's pretty much safe, and you have all your creatures have haste. So that's it for the creatures. We'll just go over real quick the combo of these guys. So basically, whether you have Conspicuous Snoop in your hand or on the battlefield, you definitely want him on the battlefield first, because then when you play Goblin Recruiter, you know, if you don't have Skirk Prospector in your hand, what you want to do, if you don't have haste or anything like that, you would want to put, first of all, you would want to put Skirk Prospector as the first card, so that Conspicuous Snoop will gain his ability to sacrifice a goblin. You could sacrifice him to pay him to get him down on the battlefield. You have your haster out, or you have, what is Goblin Chieftain, or God, I can never remember the other dude. Goblin Chieftain and Goblin War Chief. So one of those, I think they're both the same pay. Yeah, Goblin War Chief is 3. And where is Goblin Chief? Where is Goblin Chieftain? What? That's okay. Goblin Chieftain definitely should be in this deck. Swear it was one. Oh, I'm so silly. Here it is. These cards like to stick to my mat. So yeah, they're both the same pay. So as long as you get one of them out, you know, your creatures have haste. So then once you have him down, so that's basically the order you want to put it in. You want Skirk Prospector, you want your haster, and then you want Kranko. Because then when Kranko's on the top, he has haste. You tap him to gain your goblins. I mean, if you have other mana, that'd be great, you know, because then you don't have to sacrifice Goblin Recruiter quite yet. So then you tap him, you get the goblins, you sacrifice, get him out, tap again. Well, actually, what I would really want, so that when Muxus is in, you'll probably have him behind Kranko. So as soon as you get Kranko down, You have Muxus on the top. You can play him from the top of your deck, and then you bring Muxus down. Muxus, I believe you look at the top 5. Look at the top 6 cards. And then I think if it's a certain amount of CMC or less, you can bring it to the battlefield. So with Goblin Recruiter, you have all of your goblins right then and there, and then they all hit the battlefield. You tap Cranko, and you just have a whole bunch of goblins, and you can sack them for mana or anything like that. And then, of course, you know, we'll go over the enchantments next. There's a couple of cards in here that will definitely play with that. One of them being Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature enters this battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So, I mean, you're bringing in a whole bunch of goblins. Like I said, I think I've gotten 60 goblins out pretty quickly, like within a turn or two. So that's 60 damage to your opponents, which will just end the game right then and there. And this is the other one, Outpost Siege. It enters the battlefield as you choose Cons or Dragons. Cons at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Not necessarily what we want. What we want is Dragons. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, Outpost Siege deals 1 damage to any target. So if you have 60 goblins out on the field, nobody is going to try to destroy your stuff if Outpost Siege is on the battlefield, because they're going to die. So this deck, I haven't got it to work necessarily as much as I would like to. Basically because I don't have much protection in here, but Cindervines, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cindervine deals 1 damage to that player, and then pay 1, sacrifice Cindervines to destroy target artifact or enchantment, and then it deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. So, like, that's pretty good to have for your enchantment or artifact removal. Defense of the Heart, of course. This is a big card that you could probably use in any green deck, because during your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, and put those creatures into play, and then shuffle your library afterwards. Yeah, one of the reasons I haven't really been able to get this deck to work the way I want is I usually just play at home with my roommate, my friend. And we usually just kind of play the same deck, so we know each other's decks. We know what we're all trying to do, so he knows what's coming as soon as it comes out. So it's very easy to prevent one of us from doing exactly what we want. Defense of the Heart. We have Mana Echoes. Whenever a creature comes into play, you may add 1 to your mana pool for each creature you control that shares a creature type with it. This is pretty great, because as soon as you if this is out and you're dropping goblins, you're getting mana like crazy. So, I mean, this with Goblin Recruiter, you're with Conspicuous Snoop, you're playing all of your goblins, you're putting them all down, you're tapping, and you're just, I really would like to make this deck go off one day in the way that I meant it. Rhythm of the Wild, creature spells you control can't be countered. You know, it's a semi-protection in this deck, but, non-token creatures you control have Riot, so they enter the battlefield with your choice of a 1/1 counter or haste. So if you have Grumgully out on the field, they're already getting a 1/1 counter, so you definitely want to use that haste ability. Abundant Growth, a little bit of mana ramp. You enchant land, and then it enters the battlefield. You get to draw a card, and then it taps to have 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Which actually doesn't seem that great now that I'm actually looking at it. I mean, if you need color fixing, I guess. But it seems like if you have a card that will double, like you get 2 of 1. I can't remember the name of the card. But there are some other things out there. But I mean, it's a 1-pay And then Blood Moon, non-basic lands or mountains, kind of control everybody. I've never actually been able to play this one. I haven't pulled it yet. Haven't played the deck in a while, but I love this artwork too. From the Double Masters extras showcase. It's nice and pretty. Look at that foiling. Blood Moon. Alright. So now we'll get into artifacts. Mana Crypt. Of course, definitely need Mana Crypt. You know, everybody knows Mana Crypt. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you. Add 2 mana to your mana pool to tap. 0 pay. Smuggler's Copter. I guess I have this in here for the drawing ability. But has flying. Whenever Smuggler Copters attacks or blocks, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So crew 1, tap any number of creatures you control with total power 1 or more. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. I'm actually not a fan of that card. Not necessarily a fan of vehicles. Vanquisher's Banner. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Obviously goblins. Creatures you control the chosen type get 1/1. And whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. Door of Destinies, very similar. Choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies. Creatures you control of the chosen type get 1/1 for each charge counter on Door of Destinies. So if you have this on the battlefield and you're casting all your goblins from the top of your deck, that's going to get dangerous really, really, really quickly. And especially with Coat of Arms. Each creature gets 1/1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. Now, for a while, me and my friend did not notice that it says each creature gets 1/1 for each other creature on the battlefield. So we thought it only applied to our own creatures, but it actually applies to every opponent's creatures as well. So this is definitely something that you want to be careful using if you are playing another tribal deck or anything like that. You know, just make sure you have, you know, a bunch of other stuff, or at least a lot more creatures down, at least a lot more goblins down as you're playing this. Hazoret's Monument. Red creature spells that you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Pretty nice. So 3 pay, so it's not too bad. Lightning Greaves, of course. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. 0 equip, 2 pay to drop. Not bad. The infamous Soul Ring. Pay 1 to add 2 to your mana pool. And then Umbral's Mantle. This would be excellent if I ever got to play it. Attach him to Krenko. I got my sack abilities and just infinite goblins just coming straight at your face. 3-drop, equip 0. Infinite mana, infinite goblins. Be really fun, really fun. Alright, that's it for the artifacts. Let's get to the instants. Manamorphose. This is good. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, and then draw a card. Use this a couple times to get an extra card draw, and then drop my commander right afterwards. Nice. Fog, prevent all damage, all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a great card to prevent all damage. You want to keep the table going a little bit more if someone's about to go off and take out the entire table, which is your plan. It's your job to do. Fury Charm, choose 1, destroy target artifact. Target creature gets 1/1 and gains trample until end of turn. Or remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card. Now I believe I did have this because I had Wheel of Fortune in here. But I believe I took Wheel of Fortune out. I wasn't getting too much play from it. That's not a lot of times that I actually wanted to remove or discard my hand. Alright, so then Vitalize. Untap all creatures you control. This is definitely another... I mean, it's not necessarily a useless card. I mean, it'd be good if you have Cranko out, you know, just to get an extra few goblins. Or a lot more goblins, depending on how many times you've used them. If you used... Especially if you have it on the turn where you use Conspicuous Snoop to tap as Cranko and then drop Cranko, so on and so forth. You know, they all have haste and everything like that in a perfect game. Return to Nature, obviously. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard. Beast Within always should be in every green deck. Destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Worldly Tutor. Search your library for a creature card and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the revealed card back on top of it. So, like I said, this deck is full of tutors to get the goblins that you need out to get to your combo. Chaos Warp. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library, then reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's a permanent card, he or she puts it onto the battlefield. Evolution Charm. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Not necessarily what we're looking for, but return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So if someone decides to destroy your Conspicuous Snoop or your Cranko, you can just bring it back and then put it right back on the battlefield. And, I mean, I guess target creature gains flying until end of turn. That would be kind of crazy. Especially if you get your goblins just super enraged with 1/1 counters or 1/1 lords. Shock deals 2 damage to any target. Inspiring card. Draw a card for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. So it's definitely good to pair with if you have, you know, you're dropping... If you can keep Grumgully on the field for more than a minute, for more than a turn. But yeah, they all get indestructible until end of turn, and then you get to draw a card for it. So, I mean, I guess that is a little bit dangerous. If you have 60 goblins out, you're drawing out most likely your entire deck by then. So you better make sure you win that turn, or you're just going to lose the game. Some of these cards can be really dangerous. Lightning Axe. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 5. It deals 5 damage to target creature. Definitely probably one of the ones that can come out. Most likely for Heroic Intervention. That's definitely an instant that I need in this deck. Alright, so that's the instants. Let's get to the sorceries. Goblin War Party. Choose 1, create 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Creatures you control get 1/1 and gain haste until end of turn. Entwine. You pay the entwine cost, and you choose both if you pay the entwine cost. So that's pretty nice. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of confused. The entwine, I believe you pay it on top, so it'd be a 7 pay. 2 red, 5 generic. What was the other? There's another. Was it a kicker? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's basically the same as a kicker. The kicker pay. Alright, Broken Bond. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Not basic. Any land. So that's pretty cool. Gamble, just another tutor card to get what you need. It is a little bit dangerous because you do search your library for a card, but you put that card in your hand, or you put that card in your hand, but you discard a card at random and then shuffle your library. So that's pretty scary at times. But you know, I usually in this situation, I always shuffle my hand around, lay it out, and have my opponent choose. I think that's the best way for random. And it just seems a little less, you know, at least for your opponent, a little less sketchy. Hordeling Outburst. Put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Goblins are good. Goblins are good. Burn from Within. Burn from Within deals X damage to target creature or player. If a creature is dealt damage this way, it loses indestructible till end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Basically, I think one of these reasons why I have this in here is because if I do have the ability to sack my goblins for mana, I can kill a player if I have, you know, a whole bunch of goblins out on the field. Empty the Warrens. Like I said, goblins are good. Create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Storm. That's the thing, too. So whenever you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. So, I mean, if you have a lot of one drops, one pays, you have enough mana, and you can put a lot of goblins down. And just empty the Warrens, man. Bring them to the battlefield. Kill your opponent. Win the game. It's never just one goblin. I love that. It's never just one. Alright. That's it for sorceries now. I'm not going to go over my lands because lands are not important in this deck. Let's go on to my Planeswalkers. As I said, I made this deck all about mana and goblins. So, Xenagos the Reveler. Uptick +1, add X mana in any combination of red or green to your mana pool, where X is the number of creatures you control. So, big if you have those X cards in there. Zero tick to put a 2/2 red and green satire creature token with haste onto the battlefield. I can see that actually pairing with the Warp Mother, but like I said, probably going to take her out. And then, what is this? -6 to exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may put any number of creatures and or land cards from among them onto the battlefield. So, I mean, this is another thing. If you can get it up to the 6 to play Goblin Recruiter, bring out your combo, you know, bring out all those goblins that you need. And then last but not least, Yangu Wildcrafter. Each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has tapped to add 1 mana of any color. And then you can -1 to put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So, I mean, yeah. Mana. Goblins. Damage. Not probably the best card for this deck. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other cards that can definitely replace this. But, there you have it, guys. That is my Grumgully the Generous Goblin deck. Pretty nifty idea. If it definitely does work properly. If you guys can get it to work a lot better than I can, I would love to hear your comments. If you guys can get this deck to work a lot better than I can, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Or if you already have a similar deck like this, you know, and there's a bunch of cards that, you know, that you have that I don't, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know what you think. You know, leave a comment. If you do like the content that you have seen, just give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'll be posting most likely every week something different. I do mostly the MTG Arena Brawl right now. It's actually really fun. Have a new deck coming out soon. But that is Grumgully the Generous. That is my version, my rendition of Grumgully the Generous. Just a nice little foil. But stay safe out there, guys. It's a crazy world we live in. Be kind. And just lead by example. We all can make the world a better place. Love your life. Live. Good night.